Can we take a little pee break at like some point?
No.
Just because, I
We can if we assume the exact same position so I can edit easily.
The boss says no.
Why
also,
do
I
we
already
need to assume positions? We can just cut. We can just say,
Yep.
Now time for our sponsored segment.
We have no sponsors as of yet, so no, not happening. Sorry.
50 minutes of pain.
Hello everyone and welcome to the third episode of our podcast. Here we talk about our ideas, mostly terrible, sometimes good, and we hope that you learn something new. I'm today's host JB, and here I am joined with two people. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Ashley.
Yes, beautiful intro. My name is James, also known as Valcare on the YouTubes.
So we're going to start
and also about my traumatic history, right?
Oh yes, I was about to point it to you. You have no patience. Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
I'm wondering whether to cut this out because it is highly entertaining,
Okay, since James very clearly wants to talk about it, let's ask what's his experience with music and what is his trauma that he so badly needs to share.
Oh god. Oh my god. I'm laughing too much for this sad story. Oh god.
Okay, wait.
Take your time.
We gotta set the scene. It's 1997. No, I'm joking.
It's 1812.
No, like,
it's 1812. It's 17 something, French
like
Mm-hmm.
Revolution.
17, French Revolution. I was sitting in a bar. So basically, I came from sports school, which is what makes so special about me, right? Sports school. And I guess we're just gonna dive straight into it. Okay, but
Sure.
because I did diving in sports school, I did platform diving in sports school. It was a funny pun.
Platform diving?
Anyway, but
Impressive.
yeah, platform diving, which means you jump from a very high place into water.
Oh, I know that.
Do multiple somersaults.
I know that.
Yeah, yes.
Wow.
Yes, good job.
I don't know a lot of
Good job,
sports, okay? I don't know a lot of sports, so this is actually in a competition.
Someone give her an award. Alright. Anyway, so
You are rude.
I used to have like a hella intense schedule, I guess you could say. Like every week I would train 6 days. 5 of the days, which is like from Monday to Friday. After having school, I like train for 4 hours after that, usually from like 4 to 8 or some shit. And then like Saturday I train for another 3 hours. That actually wasn't the reason why like I was so upset about like my whole diving shtick. When I originally entered diving, like I wasn't real like against diving or whatever. Actually, the way I got into diving was kind of because my father kind of like bought his way. The entire
There we go. The Asian parent experience.
It's the Asian parent. Oh god,
Asian
the tale is old as time. The whole like diving industry. I know, right? I sound hella pompish over, but the whole diving industry is hella. The diving industry.
You have to use the accent, yeah.
Saturated. Like
it's actually saturated.
Not saturated. In my opinion, it's just like
It's a water pun.
It's just a bunch of how do I censor this? It's just a bunch of rich phallical objects
Phallical?
swinging around.
You just say phallical?
Yeah.
I am delighted. Please continue.
Yeah, because they're just kind of like throwing money at the pot, and they're being like, and it's basically all for like, okay, I can't say it's all for like, because there are divers down there who like genuinely care for the sport, but it's mostly just like rich parents who have a lot of money and a lot of free time, rich Singaporeans who have a lot of money and a lot of free time. Like let's give an example, right, to substantiate my point, like all the teachers in general. Yeah.
Yes.
So like for example, there was one day I was in like, because there are 2 stages, right? There's the talent academy or whatever thingy, and then like there's the national squad, which is like the one where you represent Singapore. When I was in the talent academy, this like skinny ass guy, and like there were so many like people you would see that are clearly unfit, like what kind of talent, I'm sorry, but what kind of talent do they have then being terrible candidates for diving. I'm sorry. Anyway, there was this like extremely skinny guy. His mother would always like drive like a Porsche, go fetch him diving. And there was this like plump kid who was like also there. And no, it just doesn't make sense. That's all. He eventually like entered the national squad, and like me like experiencing the trauma there, which I haven't really like touched on yet, and like this is a very roundabout way of approaching it. But
Go ahead.
me as like whatever, when I heard the news that like he was joining like the diving national squad, I was like,
How?
no. I was like the meme, you know. No. you know that? Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
The punches. Yeah. Anyway, so he joined it, and let's do like a literary way of explaining trauma. You know, instead of approaching my trauma directly because it's too painful, I'm gonna approach the trauma from the trauma
Flashback.
of a person that I observed. Yes, to explain my own. Okay, anyway, he was struggling.
Yeah, basically.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I'm a lit student, by the way. Yeah, I confess. Got me. He was suffering a lot, like not just physically, she was, but also emotionally. To substantiate my point again, let's give another example, right? So, my opinion on how he actually got in is because his sister, who is like a more legit diver, she wasn't hella legit, but she was pretty legit, you know, doing like
Actually
2.5
had
on the
some
floor.
accomplishments, for example. Some abilities.
Yeah, actually winning competitions and stuff. Yeah, that's semi-legit. So like, her brother, like the talent squad that I was talking about, and he somehow managed to like join. I'm not sure how, but he did.
And what you're looking for is nepotism.
Nepotism, yes. So, let's give an example, right? Oh, he was very plump, and he would always struggle with a lot of the physical activities. So, like every time our coach, which is from China, so we call him like 教练, and like
Yeah.
it's not even his fault, right? Because he's like he's a really like freaking nice guy. It's just like bad circumstance. Let's blame it on society. Yes, society. Alright, anyway.
We live in
But-
a society.
We live in a society. Oh, you know, yeah.
Yeah, you have no. Everyone knows that one.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Wait, the meme?
Actually lost it. I don't know.
Wait, what?
We live in a society. Do you not know that meme?
She
It's a
doesn't.
meme? I will hide my face from here on out. I'll excuse myself.
Meme? What?
My dear.
Yes,
I'm
actually.
sorry. Yeah, I've been living
Things
under a
passed
meme
around
rock.
on the internet.
Yeah.
You know what
It's
internet
okay.
is?
Yeah, you know what the internet is?
Yeah, I haven't actually heard about it, you know. Yeah. Like, what platform are we on again? Like, who are you guys? You know.
Oh, you know what? We are actually on it. We live in your computer.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, we got off track. We need to get onto James' trauma.
That's good. 10 out of
Yes.
10. Acting amazing. Right. So he would struggle a lot, but my most like vivid memory of him like having a traumatic experience was like when the coach, the 教练, asked us to. 教练is coach in Chinese, by the way, for like
We
those
know,
people
we
who
know.
don't know. Yeah, just no,
We know.
for the viewers, Jamie, for the viewers.
Jamie, I'm surprised you know. I wouldn't know like if I were you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Dude, every Chinese coach is called 教练. You would realize after a while.
Yeah. Anyway, so he basically didn't want to do this dive, which was 2.5 somersault, 2.5 front flip, like head first into the water from like this 1 meter springboard. So like this guy basically he was scared to do like this 2.5 somersaults because, you know, who wouldn't? But
I'm scared too. It's okay. He's not alone.
yes, we should have all gave him a big hug right then.
Yes.
Alright. Okay, so but the 教练 was being like, you know, he was being a little
From
He was being strict.
and yeah, he was
What
being
is
strict. So he was like, oh, you gotta do it, you know. I mean, he wasn't angry about it. He was just like, in the normal 教练 voice, okay, he was more like,
The stern Chinese,
do
angry
it.
Chinese.
yes,
Angry Chinese.
angry Chinese.
It's like, do it, or else I'll like call your father or something, please, like, just do it. You know, he was more like that. So he was like standing there, and he was like on the verge of crying.
Oh no.
Oh no.
And I was assisting in that by like diving and like being like, "Ha, you can't do it." No, I'm joking, but it was like this whole big ass scenario, right? Because standing there and he would cry, he just wouldn't dive. He called his father, and then his father came, and it was like this whole like big scene, and you can imagine like how traumatic it was for him, right? So like that was messed up. There's an example, right? So basically, I was trying to use him to like show me myself. I felt extremely like like a stranger basically to the rest of the diving group. Not like in the sense that I didn't feel welcome because they were mean to me or whatever. No, most of them were like very nice to me. I just didn't feel like I deserved to be there, right? Because my in my head I was thinking, bro, my father like was the most inferior diver back then. Okay, like this like before this like plum kid came, was the most inferior diver there, and I couldn't do much, or at least in my mind, I couldn't do much. And I was extremely like scared, right, to like do a lot of the jumps. Actually, him standing there and whatever, right, it seriously like gave me flashbacks to me myself, like last time when I would be like just standing there because like, or like sometimes you wouldn't be able to do a dive. A lot of the time, I would just like stand there for like the entirety of the 2 hours in the freezing, freaking cold. Can I talk about how cold the water was?
I'm sure it was.
Yeah, and then you would get out of the water, and it would be even colder because
Oh yeah.
because of
Latent
vaporative
heat.
cooling. Yes,
Latent
latent
heat.
heat. Yes.
Yes, latent heat.
It was. Oh god, I was shivering so much. I remember one time when I was like diving from 5 meters, like just one like extremely cold diving session. It was raining, so like the wind from outside, it wasn't a closed building. The wind from outside was so freaking cold, combined with like the coldness of the water.
Gosh.
They make cold on purpose because they say like, oh, you know, overseas pool are gonna be like hella cold, and like you gotta train for that, you know. And so like they purposely make it like -5 degrees or something.
What?
And jumping into this cold water, I'm freezing my ass off. And then I go up, and it's like, oh my god, I was trembling so hard. I was like, I literally couldn't like help myself from whatever. That was part of the whole traumatic experience. It made it even more traumatic.
Yes.
But mainly it was because I just felt inferior to everyone else. But not just felt inferior. I was also extremely scared. I was like questioning myself, like, why can't I just like do it, you know? When you're like at the edge of the springboard, you're like, it seems so simple until you walk up to it, and then you're like, wait, can't do this. And it's not like I can imagine it in my mind. I oftentimes do. I imagine doing the dive before I actually do it, and this is where like the real trauma hits, I guess. Really like remember got the feedback. I really remember
Actually,
when
It's me.
really
Sorry.
remember when like
Yeah.
I'll be just standing there, be like imagining doing the dive in my head. I just wouldn't be able to do it. I'd stand on the springboard. I'd freeze up. I don't know. It's like my mind wants to do it, but my body won't. You guys ever get that feeling? You know? It like, and it really like, that was terrible. And I was in diving for I mean like I was in the national diving squad for like 3 years. So yeah, I was 3 years of suffering every
Sounds
day.
like fun.
Eventually I became a #rebel, and like I do a lot of messed up stuff. Like I arrived to diving like 2 hours late for every training, and like somehow I'd be able to give this excuse of like, because it was Sec 3, and I'd be like, oh, you know, the teachers were like holding me back, but like the teachers weren't actually holding me back. I was just in like
You
the
just didn't
computer
want to
room.
go, right?
I was just in the computer room like watching YouTube videos. That's also like part of the reason why I'm such a shut-in, I guess. Because like whenever I was in diving, I would always like, I would kind of create this like persona, you know, that wasn't me. And like I think it was like when my whole like mental state really broke down, like defend myself, I guess, from the whole like situation. I create this like extremely inferior persona, like mimic what was expected of me in that area, in the diving team. And I just like be extremely quiet. I wouldn't say anything to anyone. If they talk to me, I'll just be like, haha, yeah, and then just like move on my way. It was pretty terrible. And not only in like diving, honestly, like everywhere I've really been to, I felt like a stranger, like especially in sports school. Because you can imagine, right, in diving, which is like the whole thing about sports school, I felt like a stranger. Can you imagine how much of a stranger I felt in sports school, where diving isn't like, they have like 8 main sports, and like most people fall into those 8 categories. I wasn't even part of those 8 categories, right? I was under swimming, but I didn't do swimming, obviously. I did diving. Wasn't in like the boarding school system, because they had a boarding school system. And yeah, I just wasn't, because I didn't want to sleep with people. Jeez, that's weird. But and it what do I want to say? Oh shit. Nothing against sports school, because sports school is like, honestly, like,
It's not a good fit for you, right?
not even there was a bad fit. Like I don't regret going to sports school, because like it has taught me so many things, right? But it's just that, and the school is great. It just, I felt so out of place. It's society's fault. My father, like me and my father, kind of have like an extremely complicated relationship, right? You can kind of guess from like him asking me to go diving and stuff. But he would always say, when like I was in sports school, that like, oh, of the 108 people in sports school, there were only supposed to be 107. You're the 108th. Like, it really made me feel extremely.
Your dad said that?
My dad said that. I mean, I'm sure he meant no, like, whatever, but yeah. And yeah, I had like no friends, even in primary school. No friends.
Yeah, I kind of vibe with you.
Yeah, anyway. So like that, honestly, that whole experience of like diving and whatnot really like carried on in like my life to into like junior college, and even like throughout secondary. Wait, okay, before that,
You mean
like I have to talk about,
secondary and then junior?
yes. my brain short circuit.
Just making sure you want AJ backwards.
Benjamin Button.
Oh, time is not going backwards, not yet. Anyway,
Oh.
so
Oops, that's
the way I got kicked out was like, it was a lot of BS. Alright, I wasn't angry about it, because obviously I'd be happy to be kicked out of the place that I hated the most, right? So I wasn't mad about it. My parents were mad about it, and they were mad at me about it. But you know, my mother was actually like really nice about it. I really have to thank my mother. But that's later. Alright, so new American coach like came in, right? And he had a different way of thinking. He wasn't like as nice as like this China coach. You can tell this China coach is nice, because like, even though he knew like my heart wasn't in it or something, like I remember he would write like these programs for me. And, like, he knew that most of the people in this like diving team were just like kind of, they were just there for like the fun of it, you know. Like most of the people, even though they were like considered national squad or something, like most of them just like didn't show up at all, and most of them were like 18, 19-year-olds. They were more, during training, they were literally talking about like their jobs and shit, and they were talking, they were talking about like university, going to university and stuff. They weren't really like, okay, not, they weren't terrible. It's just like, you know, when your heart isn't in it, and it's just like, you know, I wasn't like they weren't participating. You know? They were. It's just, and he kind of like knew the whole vibe wasn't like very professional level. So
Wait.
It's not fit for a national squad.
Oh, I
What do
see.
you want to say? Okay.
Yeah, I just have like one question. I'm not too clear.
Right.
So you said that you felt like different, outplaced from the others, right? But then, didn't you also not really enjoy diving? Like, how does that make you different from the others who are also like didn't have their heart in the sport?
Well, you see, because they had this thing in diving called friends. Like diving to them wasn't
that was being
diving. It was a socializing opportunity.
Something they went through to hang out
let's
with
say.
friends, right?
Yeah. And you can clearly tell that, like, yeah. Anyway, so there was this new American coach, right? He implemented a lot of like let's say gimmicky stuff, like he was like, oh, let's have a partnership with like this outside gym, and let's get a legit nutritionist for like these people who didn't even care about diving, and let's get like a physiotherapist.
Wow.
I mean, that's kind of nice. It
Yeah,
shows
yeah,
that you really
it's
care
definitely
about
like new ideas. I would be all for it.
The problem with a lot of these systems is that doesn't matter. It doesn't affect the quality of diving at all. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Like their hearts aren't in it. They aren't going to improve from it.
They would have improved.
You're saying he should have like focused on the diving aspect of the sport, the practical stuff lah.
Anyway, he got kicked out recently apparently. So
Oof.
His coach.
I may or may not be right, but
Interesting.
he was like basically the whole reason. Okay, not he was the whole reason, but from my like previous actions and everything, I could kind of tell like I was gonna get kicked out soon. When he especially came in, like he had my eyes on me. He was like, "Oh, you're coming in like 2 hours late and everything." My mother would like say, "Oh, this is so unfair, because the other people don't come like half of the time, and like their hearts aren't in it as well." Like, in my opinion, the main like difference between us, I guess, is like I was the most inferior one. I was easy pickings. Yeah. So he would like always like have talks with me. I mean, not always, but he did have like talks with me, telling me about like how I didn't put enough like effort into it, and I didn't like have enough heart in it and stuff. Like and I remember like one conversation he had. The feedback, sorry, but I remember one conversation we had. He was like, he pulled me out, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna suspend you because you don't look like you're getting anything out of it." And I was like, yes, suspend me, do it. Because by that point I hated going to diving. Yeah.
That sucks, dude.
During the holidays, it was even worse. It would be every day.
Oh no.
8 hours. Monday to Friday, it would be in the morning. Okay, not 8 hours, 7. It would be in the morning from 9 to 12, and then we'd have lunch, and then we'd come back at like 3, and then it'd be until 7 p.m.
Gosh.
And it was, oh my god. It wasn't physically tiring. I mean, okay, I guess I would say it was physically tiring. But more importantly than that, it was so mentally draining. Holy hell. Like, I won't say that every moment of my life in diving was hell, but like I guess I did have like some enjoyable moments. I guess like that's the thing with like traumatic stuff, right? It's not about like
it's a net negative.
Yeah, and like the whole like idea of like me being a stranger to it, I guess it's like kind of an interesting situation. Like a lot of the time, my life is not very physically in danger, but I still felt like extremely burdened by it, like to this day, because of like just because of the fact that I felt like I was a stranger in like the whole group. That was interesting, but yeah, and so like we all knew the end was coming. My father actually managed to get me into the diving squad through like this friend he had, right? So like when they decided to kick me out, like we met up again, and then I remember like they were like, "Oh, it's okay. We can let you remain in sports school if like you go to this club and then you continue diving." I was like immediately like, "No." And they're like, "Why?" I'm like, no, I want to quit now. I want to quit today. Yeah, I just left and I never came back. Yeah.
Why I left sports?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I mean, okay, I did leave eventually, but sports school, like as I said, not a bad school. They were very nice about it. They allowed me, like, because I quit in December of like my Sec 3 years. And so like actually before you join sports school, you have to like sign this thing which says that you won't quit your sport. Yeah, anyway, juvenile. Anyway, so they allowed me to like go to the O-level track and like take my 4th year. I got 7 points. Okay,
Nice.
anyway.
Are you flexing?
Yeah, he's flexing.
No, I'm not. There's nothing interesting about 7 points. No, like the significance of me getting 7 points, I guess, is because I failed prelims.
Oh, yeah, that's really good then. You did great.
Yeah, it's a great improvement.
I got
Actually.
Yeah.
I failed every single subject.
Wow.
And like, oh, but to get that 7, I might sound like happy about my 7, but I really hate the person that I was, the person who got that 7. Because to be able to get that 7, I seriously had to shed my humanity. Okay, I
We
remember
can partially relate
like,
to
the most
that.
the most dehumanizing moment I remember was when like they gave the results, because I was sports school is like a tight knit community, right? I was like the top. I think I was the top 3 in my whole school. I mean in my level. And like when I saw that 7, I remember just being so upset. It's like, why didn't I get 6?
There we go.
Yeah, and like that was like looking back at it, I really hate that person that I was back then.
6 was the
but
perfect
anyway.
score lah.
Bugger lah.
I think there's something really wrong with the education system when you realize that to be able to win in it, you literally have to shed your humanity and become a different person.
Work yourself to the bone.
That's a different discussion.
Yeah.
I guess that relates to the diving thing also.
Mm.
I did have to inherit like a different persona. Entire.
But there's nothing inherently wrong with taking on different perspectives.
Oh, the thing is, I get what they're trying to do. I truly do understand the need for like achieving success in society. However, like to achieve this said success comes at a cost, at a cost of your soul.
It's true, yeah.
You know, at the end of Sec 3 during December, right, I quit, and I was kind of going through this like low energy phase. Is that what the cool kids call it these days, the hipsters?
It's
I
called
was like kind of-
injury.
It's called
Just
burnout.
Burnout.
I was just kind of coasting. I wasn't really doing much with my life. Every day, the schedule would be. I got the feedback is bad. Okay, but anyway, every day the schedule would be just me waking up, and then I just turn on YouTube, watch some random ass videos about some like random ass gameplays, play like some video games, like and that'll just be like more or less it, and then I go back to sleep. Remember one day I was like watching this motivational video for some reason. I don't know why.
TED Talk? Was it a TED Talk?
No, it was just like these motivation compilations on YouTube. It'll just be like yesterday. No, I can't.
I know.
Yeah, but you get.
I mean,
I've
yeah,
watched-
those are always
I watch
helpful.
commentary videos on that.
It'll be this like soulful music, like dun, dun, and then it'll be like The Rock being like, every day. This is the advice we give to you from 18-year-olds. Yes. Age doesn't matter.
Age doesn't matter, that's right.
So I was just like kind of chilling, and then I had this epiphany. I don't know. I just thought, I was like, what am I doing with my life?
Oh,
I
that
don't know. You ever just sit
That
down?
moment, we can all relate.
I remember I was playing my game. I was just in the middle of a match, like this game that I play.
What game?
Vainglory, nobody.
Oh,
Vainglory.
Oh.
I've heard of it.
Wait, do you know that game?
I've heard of it, yes.
I was really good at it. I was kind of into like the esports scene for a while. That maybe another topic for another
Very
for another podcast video.
Yeah.
I was like, what am I doing with my life? Because before that, and even up to like JC1, I really wanted to be a rocket scientist. It was just kind of like this goal that I set for myself, and I just kept chasing because like it was a goal, and why not chase it?
Oh,
But I
cool.
never really sat down to think. I mean, I did.
Do you
sit
want
down
to
think.
be a rocket scientist?
Yeah, but like my process of realizing I didn't want to do that, which came at like some point in JC2. Yeah, it came very late. I told my father I wanted to be a rocket scientist when I was like 4 or something. For some reason, it's so dumb. The one person who loves this podcast, please never like stick to that one goal that you had when you were 4. People change, alright? And I changed a lot from like when I was 4.
We all do.
I used to be to be a really happy guy. I don't know what happened, man. Anyway, so and so I
You're
just
in
like,
control of your life at all times.
but that was the next epiphany. The one before was like, I was like, what am I doing with my life? And I started really like getting into art and music, because actually the whole like getting into art thing wasn't like I was like, oh, I want to draw, you know. Originally when I wanted to draw, I was like, never gonna be able to draw because
Oh, same.
I thought I just really sucked at it, you know. And it's really like really a bad feeling when you draw something and you spend like 20 hours on it and you're like, wow.
And it looks like
I suck. And then and the worst part is when you go onto Instagram and then you see like people, you know, like those people who can like draw something amazing in 10 minutes.
That's
Just
a lot of
like,
practice.
wow.
It really does, yeah. It really does take a lot of
But-
practice. I agree with Jamie. For any creative
Yeah,
work,
that's
it's
Then
always
that's the nice thing about the arts. If you
Yes.
practice it, you plus to
Yes.
get better.
there's no such thing
yeah,
as
but
like
it just seems so impossible. I think every artist struggles with this. Right? It
definitely
just
at the
seems
beginning.
so impossible.
It seems impossible.
Like be able to get to that level.
Mm.
Really,
And
like
so-
if you think about it, isn't. Every artist doubts him or herself.
Definitely,
Every artist has
definitely.
this moment in every day where you just sit down, you look at your art piece and you're like, I don't like it. and then you start questioning yourself and you shouldn't believe that voice in your head, you know, that goes, oh, you suck, you suck. Because like
Yeah.
you can improve. Even
Yeah.
though you might hate yourself now, you can improve, and that's the great thing about like
Yeah.
humanity or whatever.
Yeah.
so
So James, for our YouTube watchers out there, show us your art now.
yeah.
Oh, are we getting an art
my art.
preview?
I drew this yesterday. I drew this yesterday. Too bad, not too terrible, it's whatever.
Right? Look at
Yeah.
James'
I'm no longer
impressed
like
face.
you.
That is Jamie's
Why?
impressed face.
I drew this piece.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah.
I like the flower.
I did.
Right?
It was a more polished piece. The one that I showed just now is just kind of me.
It looks good. Just accept the compliment. We can acknowledge that maybe you can be better, but
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know.
it
I
is
mean,
really good.
I
Mm.
drew okay. I've only been drawing for like.
I guess in my opinion, like, being an artist is as much mental or emotional journey as it is a physical one. You don't just hone your skills, but you also hone your attitude towards them, like, and towards yourself. Yeah. How to say, like, you'll never improve or like say like view your art in a different light from where you first started if you don't change your entire mindset. You know. Yeah. And this change comes progressively as well.
I guess like you learn to accept who you are as a person, right?
Yeah,
and at the same time,
definitely.
you learn to accept your own art.
Yeah.
Kind of true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I did this for music as well. In JC1, I mean in JC2, eventually I was like, screw rocket science. I was so dumb. Why do I want to do that? Because like obviously.
Dude, when I was young, I wanted to be a mechanical engineer. Can you believe?
I
And
wanted to
now,
become a doctor.
Oh.
that's not so far off the mark. But I want to be a mechanical engineer, and now I'm doing like art, humanities, social sciences. It's just like, boom, two different
But
ends
you
of the
think
spectrum.
that doctor is close to geography degree?
Oh, okay, it's not.
Really?
But you are a sciencey person. You take triple science, physics, science, physics.
Oh, I
bio, and-
personally think of myself as a human,
Oh, okay.
which is a bit weird actually now that you think about it.
Actually, I would say you are very
Yeah,
jack of all
true,
trades. Yeah.
Her traumatic experiences, she has created a different persona to
No,
take
I mean-
the.
No, kind of, because Ashley knew me mostly from Sec 1
Mm.
and Sec 2. My closer friends I definitely lean to side. Whereas with the
Okay,
friends who
you
aren't
live
as
in the
close, like,
present.
yes.
I know you took geog.
In
Yeah.
the present, live in the present.
Well, you see, I'm a geog student. I'm going to take geog. And that's it. That's
Take-
it.
Big joke. Oof.
Yes, I can get employed. Yes, I can get employed.
Like,
I can
I
talk
was-
about this.
My
You're telling
definition
me
of
that
jazz.
an R&B song sounds like it it could have a saxophone on
You can
it.
put
That's
a
what you're telling
saxophone
me.
in everything.
Sounds like it could
And we're not
have.
talking
You
about
could
R&B,
put a
we're talking about
saxophone in
jazz.
an R&B song.
Yeah.
R&B is based on jazz.